Hey, what's up, guys? Let me know when you get on here, so if you can hear my voice and see my screen. Just getting everything set up. So it'll just be another minute or two. Trying to figure this YouTube thing out one more time, but once again, it seems to be letting me down. So we may just bag that and just use Facebook. I thought I had it all figured out, but I may have been wrong. Oh no, there I am. Right. So like I said, I would like to talk about digital marketing agencies today, you know, SEO or whatever else there is. I recently started adding to mine a little bit because I realized I had all the resources I needed in place and I was getting leads in, and I was literally just leaving money on the table, as much of a cliche as that is. So that's what I'd like to ask questions about. Is that your office neighbor in the background? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Unfortunately, he's never here, but for some reason on Fridays he seems to show up. So, oops. That's funny because it looks like I asked that question to myself, but it was actually one of my my director of operations, or do, as I like to call him. William says, "Congrats on the Forbes links." Thank you, thank you. It was nice to be acknowledged a little bit. But like I said, the SEO in me is as excited about the link as I am about the quote. So that's probably something I need to look at. So anyway, if you have any questions or anything like that, just go ahead and load them up, and do let me know if you can hear me and see me. I screwed this up last time, and I think I got it right this time, but if not, then we'll figure it out. But Pradeep over on YouTube says hi. What's up, Pradeep? See who we got on right now. We got my brother. We got Georgia, whose name I probably just butchered again. Kirill, John, and it shows a few more, but I can never see them. So Russell Freddie Edmonds just joined, so the party can officially start. Let me move this over to here. That way I'm looking at the camera. Ish. Kevin says he's going to try and listen at my while he's at his 9 to 5. I appreciate that. I also appreciate what a help you've been in not troubleshooting, but helping me debug audit. You've been very helpful, so I appreciate your help on that. Russell Freddie Edmonds says, "Good evening, Mr. Forbes." If only. Georgia says, "You're getting better at pronouncing it." Well, I mean, we've been working together for almost 2 years. You would think I'd crack that code eventually, right? Georgia, if you don't know, is the director of operations at Legiit, and most of the time when you are talking to someone on my Legiit account, you're actually talking to him. He does a great job at running that for me. So that's like 3 nice things I've said about him this year, so that's as far as I'm going to go with it. All right, guys, if you have any questions, load them up. Otherwise, I'm going to start babbling. And, nobody wants that. Kevin says it's his pleasure. Well, either way, I appreciate it. So, see if we get anybody on YouTube. Pradeep says, how to make a first sale in freelancing. Any tips? I've put up a listing on Legiit yesterday. There's a lot of things you can do. First of all, join the Legiit Facebook group if you haven't already. Then on Mondays, you're able to post your service in there and explain why people should use it. And then you'll also have a chance to, I've lost my train of thought, to put it in our weekly email. And then also join the Facebook group, the Freelancers Templar. Barry Page, a good friend of mine, has been putting out some great stuff in there to help sellers make their first sale and increase their sales and things like that. He's really, really knowledgeable at that. And how do I say this without sounding arrogant? He's the only other person that I know that's had the level of success at freelancing that I have. I'm sure there are others, but he's the only one I know. So check both of those out. Snag success. How do you get social signals? If you want to get them without buying a service or whatever, you're just going to have to get content that people want to like, share, +1, retweet, all that stuff. That's what social signals are. A way to like bypass that system is if you get a good article, you post it on a Facebook page, and then you run 10, 20 bucks worth of ads to it, and if people like it, they'll start sharing it. And basically you're kind of kickstarting that viral effect, if that makes sense, He also says, how come no one talks about Web 2.0 in the SEO agency side of the community, but with affiliate marketing, there's always say how Web 2.0s are great and such. I can't say why someone does or does not talk about something. I use them heavily, especially for branding. If I start a new site that's chrissaffiliatesite.com or chrissagencysite.com, I'll get chrissagencysite.weebly.com and as many of those as I can because you're really building up your brand that way. And then I do that for keyword also. So, chrisskeyword.com, I would go and get chrisskeyword.weebly.com, chrisskeyword.tumblr.com. I think they're important. The reason I think they get written off is because a few years ago, that was like a really powerful way to rank. And a lot of people used a lot of software to like way overdo it, and they lost a lot of their effect. When people say something doesn't work anymore, usually what they mean is it doesn't work easily anymore, and they gave up on it, and I think that's happened with Web 2.0. So that's kind of my answer on that. Kirill says, let me go put this on the screen. Kirill says, what's your method to get clients again? At this point, this probably isn't the answer you need, but people are coming to me. And I was doing a bad job, and I'm still doing a bad job, but what I'm working on, and I don't know why I have headphones on, is getting a better system of getting them in place, to, I'm losing my train of thought. The headphones threw me off. Anyway, I'm working on being able to communicate with them and sign them up better. If you're asking me how you should go about getting clients, it depends on what you are comfortable with and what you like to do. If you want to do in-person stuff, that was never for me. But if you want to do, chambers of commerce, meetup, BNI, things like that, then that's a good way to do it. You can build some really strong personal connections that way. Also, rent an office if you can, and meet people around there and connect with them too. I've been working on that a little bit, not with that loud guy you hear in the background, but with some other people. Ads to content helps a lot. So like write a good ebook or a blog post or a video series and just run some ads to that. and people will start coming to you. That's been where a lot of my recent ones have been coming from. What else? LinkedIn doesn't work that well anymore because people have abused it. Cold calling, if you want to be do that kind of thing. Again, I was never comfortable with that, but a lot of people are, and it absolutely still works. Check out Jordan Belfort if you want to get some good training on that. Just anything you would, all the same methods all still work. But for me, I want to use paid advertising and people coming to me. So that's kind of where I am on that. Let's put Kevin's question up on the screen and then check YouTube. What do you generally do with client SEO? I'm not 100% sure what you're asking, but I sign a client and then I get them ranked first page and then eventually number one. If you had a more specific question, if that doesn't really answer what you were looking for, let me know and I'll try to answer it more specifically. But is it possible to get a GMB verified without a real address as people are selling it? Yes, there is. I don't know how to do it and I don't do it, but yeah, it can be done. Kevin says, do you have tips on approaching a digital marketing company that does not sell SEO services? Yeah, so the angle to take there is to explain to them what they're missing out on by not offering it, And just say that you can be their behind the scenes guy, just building their links, maybe doing an audit for their client, that sort of thing. And just let them know what they're missing out on and that you can take that off of them for a fraction of what it would cost to hire somebody in-house. If they hire an employee, it's going to cost them, $40,000 a year just in salary, and then, all the other crap that comes with hiring an employee. Basically, at least an American employee costs you 3 times their annual salary with all the insurance and taxes and all that other stuff that you have to have. So hopefully that answers that. Russell Freddie Edmonds says, dude, what's your take on cold email nowadays for clients? I'm getting the impression that history is repeating itself, where it's better to be on face-to-face value. See, the thing with that is that a lot of people try to, and this is probably, I guess, a lot of people take the approach that you take with ladies, is to make it a numbers game rather than taking the time to qualify people and send a message specifically to them. Like, I would rather send 10 highly targeted messages rather than 200 just of the same thing. So take your time and prospect correctly and send them a message that's relevant specifically to their business, and you'll have a much higher success rate. It takes a lot more time, but the ROI is better. So that's kind of my take on cold email. That's not what I used to do, but that's what's worked for other people I know now. So Georgia says, I'm a small-time seller on Legiit. For small-time sellers on Legiit, would you recommend or approve of sending messages to previous clients on Legiit like once a week, so not to disturb them with coupons or similar, to get them to like you or have business with you? All right, so this is kind of a gray area. Definitely do not send them to people that you haven't worked with. I think once a week might be a little much, but occasionally if you want to go back to an old order and say, by the way, I'm offering this again at a discount, you want to come check it out again, let me know. Also take advantage of the reorder discount feature that we have. So definitely do not send messages to people that you haven't interacted with, because we will ban somebody for that. But an occasional message to a previous client, I don't think that's a problem. Kevin says, would you white label it? Yeah, that's what I like to do. That way, for them, it's like really nothing, They give you the information, you do the work, you send it back to them. Works out well for you because you don't have to deal with the client. Works out well for them, they don't have to do the work. So it's kind of a hand-in-hand type of thing. Randy says, sorry I'm late. Hope I didn't miss the good stuff. Not at all. The good stuff doesn't start until you get here. let's see, on YouTube. Ooh, lots of questions. How much paid ads would someone require to get a client with their agency? I mean, it just depends. Like, there's no real good answer to that. I would start with just, $10 a day of a highly targeted ad over to some content that can then drive them into your agency. The more you can afford to spend, the more you're going to get. So that's why it's kind of hard to answer, but I would start with $10 a day and work your way up from there. What I meant to say was, what type of links, like Web 2.0 PBNs for your clients? Oh, well, I have my strategy that I use for all of them, and you can check that out in Superstar SEO Academy, superstarseo.com/trial. But basically, I establish I do all their on page, and then I established a really strong brand. So, like you said, Web 2.0s, social profiles, citations, things like that. And then maybe a press release and get all that fortress around their website. And then I can use a couple PBNs, a couple guest posts to get them the rest of the way to the top. That's not very specific, but that's kind of the overview of how I do my process. So, any seller you recommend for buying good age domains? Yes, check out Sakit Wahi on Legiit. Like, what is your SEO process for ranking client or affiliate site in terms of what? I think I just answered that. So let's go back over to Facebook. Cheers, man. Sums it up. Now, man, quality over quantity in both fields. Jeff says, have you had success offering Facebook ads to your clients? I've had a few Facebook ad clients in the past. It's never been my big focus. I've always been an SEO guy, but I really want to start offering that more because I don't want to say it's easy, but like, it's much more predictable than doing SEO. So once you get it optimized right, then you're golden. Randy says, is there a problem with the feed? It keeps stopping. I'm not seeing that. If anybody else is, let me know, and I'll see what I can do, but I'm not seeing that, and no one else has said that so far. So Jeff, you look really dapper in that picture, by the way. Would you recommend to do paid ads to get your first client? How much budget do you think roughly? You think it'd be less than 1K? I think you should use every approach when trying to get your first client. If you have the budget to do paid ads, definitely do them. You should be able to get one for less than $1,000. But the thing is, even at $1,000, like, one client and the ROI is just massive. Why more people don't do that is beyond me. I guess maybe they don't know how or whatever, or they just don't want to spend the money. But if you get $1,000, if it takes you $1,000 to get $1,000 a month client, it pays for itself. So I would think that you could get it for less than $1,000. It just depends on how good you are at the ads, Gracias, amigo. Get some water while you guys load up some more questions. And I finally figured out how to use Livecast, so that's a good. Please share your local SEO course here. All right. I'm going to share my entire SEO course because it includes local, and I think it's the best deal of anything anywhere, but it's definitely the best deal that I offer. So. For some reason, my printer just started printing. That's interesting. All right. If you guys have more questions, let me know. Snag Success over on YouTube says, I always use long form content to rank my sites. How come my DAPA is at 0.1 even though some of my posts and articles are ranking first on Google? The reason that those metrics are low is because Moz sucks. I wouldn't pay, and if you're ranking, you're doing it right, so I wouldn't pay attention to those. They don't update that very often, and even when they do, any stat is just like a general estimation, but I really don't know why my printer is printing right now. I'm wondering if it's because it's on Wi-Fi, if somebody else is connected to the wrong printer. So that's going to be interesting. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, don't pay attention to those metrics, man. If you're ranking, you're doing it right. Pradeep says whether we should rebuild the site from Wayback Builder or expired domain or repurpose it as general blog. What is the safe way? I do a little bit of both. I do way more of repurposing it as a, I don't want to say general, although the ones that I sell have to be general in order to turn a profit, but I would recreate it as a specific site more often than not. Also, do you know how to suggest you rank a website where you basically launch jacking but do multiple products for future? The thing to do there is to set up a product review blog. So, snagsuccess.com, and then just review product after product after product and optimize it for the name of the products that you're trying to launch jack. So that's going to take some time because you're going to have to build up some authority. And when I say authority, I don't mean the Moz metric. I just mean authority in that your site has a lot of power. So I'm not a huge fan of launch jacking, to be honest. Let's look at questions. Carlos says, what's the best way to get new clients who understand the importance of SEO? No more $500 a month BS. That's a tough question. You're going to have to network, I think, and present yourself in a very professional way and get to know people that are, first of all, have the budget to drop the, the $2, $3, $4, $5 a month that you deserve for your services, and they get the value in it, but they also, it's such a small portion of their budget that they're not going to be monitoring it all the time. But you really just, I think the easiest thing, the most important thing to do is learn how to screen them correctly, like how to ask questions that are going to indicate to you if they're going to be a pain in the butt or not, and things like that. So get a good discovery form type of thing if it's a lead coming in online, or in person, just learn some qualifying questions that you can ask to see if they're going to be qualified to work with you. So that's the important thing to remember, I think, is that you are qualifying them to work with you as opposed to them deciding if they're going to hire you. So hopefully that answered that. I know I kind of went a few different directions there. Isn't launch jacking the easiest way since you're getting ranked way better earlier since there's a boost, and then later your articles rank and still get money, whereas a niche site would take longer to rank and such? Yeah, the thing there is it's just, to me, it's exhausting because you have to figure out what products are going to convert and then try to beat a bunch of other people that are also trying to launch jack it. I'm not saying it's not a way to make money. It can, absolutely can, and I know people that do it, but to me, you aren't giving as much value, and it's just not as evergreen, especially because a lot of the things you're going to launch jack are going to be like JVZoo products, and the people that create those often let them go. So it's like you're getting lots of spikes of money. Whereas if you're doing niche sites or big authority sites that are in a niche, you're building something that's much more evergreen and much more helpful to people. Again, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying it's not what I like to do. Is the feed on YouTube really choppy for everybody? Let me know. We are caught up on questions for the moment. Yeah, it's choppy. Oh, crap. All right, I don't know what I can do about it. Let me see if I can lower the output a little bit. 1 second, guys. Yeah, I don't know what else I can do about that. I don't know why it's like that. Maybe it's just too much for my connection to handle to do both at the same time. Oh well. Michael says it's not too bad. Well, that's good. What are your thoughts on Uber? I missed one. Do you use crowdsearch.me? I used to, but I never saw any effects to it, and I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I don't use it anymore now. Snag Success says, what are your thoughts on Uber Suggest? I found it yesterday, and I think it's pretty cool for something which is free. Yeah, I mean, there are other keyword research tools I like better, but that's a good one. The anecdote is Neil Patel bought that from the people that created it for like $100 grand. And I wish I would have known that it was available at that price, because I absolutely would have bought it, because the list alone is worth $100 grand. So let me get some water. Pradeep says, do you use automation software like Money Robot, XRanker, etc.? Any recommendations? My recommendation is to not use them. Jeff Cosio, whose name I found out last night I've been pronouncing wrong for 3 years, he's a big fan of, what's that one called? Easy Backlinks. So check that one out. I think that's a good one. I don't really do any automated software though. I guess I do use SendWire. I've been using that so long I just consider it not automated, but I guess SendWire is automated. All right, Facebook, YouTube's beating you guys with the questions today, so step up your game. What do you show clients if it's your first client? That's a good question. First of all, what you should be working on as you're working on getting your first client is ranking your own website, so you can show that. Or you can create some websites of your own and then just rank those and use them as case studies to show your clients. Those are things you can do. Excuse me. Dying over here. No, but if you haven't had time to do that yet and you come across the lead, it's not 100% ethical, but if you have a friend or something, you can take credit for theirs. Things like that. So maybe you know somebody that will let you work on their business for free, so you have something to use as a case study, things like that. So, and if you're a good enough salesperson, you don't necessarily have to be able to do that, but anyway. You can also do things like rank a video that's really easy to rank, but they might not necessarily know that it's easy to rank. You can do like a press release and you'll get a first page ranking out of those if you optimize it correctly. Those are some things that you can do to impress people when you don't have a portfolio to show them yet. Do you think you can have an agency website without attempting to rank it if you want to make it pretty, less content on a homepage? Sure. I mean, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage that way, but you can definitely rank an agency website with little to no content and just links if you want to go that way. Gregory Ortiz used to do that quite a bit. I haven't followed him in a while, but he had a page where it was literally just a form that was ranking for some pretty hefty keywords. So. See if I'm missing any other Facebooks. Any good alternatives to, I don't know why I'm not seeing this question. Ah, there it is. Any good alternatives to SendWire? IFTTT has been acting up for me lately. I don't know. To be honest, Easy Backlinks I think is okay. The one that Jeff likes. Maybe, what's the older one? Man, I'm drawing a blank. The one that's been around for forever. I don't know. It'll come to me, and I'll do it. FCS Networker is pretty good too. It's not as user friendly as SendWire used to be, but That's a good one too. FCS Networker. Let's see what we got over on YouTube. Do you think you can have? Oh, yeah, I meant to say like your blog has tons of content which ranks long form, but your homepage, because it's literally filled with content, it doesn't look that good. I disagree. I think my homepage looks fantastic. So, but yeah, you can take that approach if you want. Suggest some sellers for buying guest posts with real traffic websites. Me. That's who I recommend, is me. And by the way, the blog posts on there have a whole different purpose than to bring in clients. So just a tip there. Randy says RankWiz is good too. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never used it, so I don't know. As far as like rereading your question about the homepage, you can also just you don't have to have a ton. You can just have a good block talking about just talking, just some sales copy, and then spring. Let me rephrase this. If I had mine to do over again, I would not focus the homepage on a local keyword. I would have just put some sales copy about my company and what we offer, and go from there. So. Suggest some seller. Let's see, I already answered that. What do you do to suggest you start offering on Legiit if you are brand new? There's lots of areas. The non-SEO categories are wide open right now. If you want to do SEO stuff, you can do PBN links if you have the resources. It just depends on what you can do. But really, if you can find something in outside of the SEO categories and become the seller for those, you'll do really well, because those categories, while they're growing, they're still the competition is not as high. But even if you want to do SEO stuff, we have people that list their service and within a week or two are doing well. So it just depends on what your skills are, Delivery deadline for guest posts. I'll just drop the link for you and you can check the thing out there. It's kind of hard to like get into the little specifics while I'm live, so I'll just drop the link for you. So there you go. Let's see, delivery deadline. Some people take more time. Yours isn't that long for homepage, but I don't know if you know Ryan, the guy who owns Ruan. Yeah, I know Ruan pretty well. He's actually a good kid. His site's homepage is filled with tons of content. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely get what you're saying. Because people don't want to read a ton of text today. Like, it definitely helps with your SEO, but you definitely do not have to have it. It's just going to take a more intense off-page campaign. That's funny though. Ruan's a good kid though. I like him a lot. It bothers me that I consider someone that's like 24 to be a kid, but that's a whole another thing. Any good resources for learning content writing? I honestly don't know. If you mean like copywriting, I don't know what to tell you. I kind of learned it on my own. No, unfortunately I don't have a good answer for you on that. I either write it myself and just know it's good and people make fun of some typos that I make, or I get someone to write it for me. So yeah, you might want to ask that in like a Facebook group or something. Somebody might have a better answer than I do. Jeff says he needs to write down all his questions for the next webinar. You know, I may start having posting a thread on like, and I probably have said this before, but I may start posting like a post on like Mondays or Tuesday or something to have people that don't think they're gonna be able to make it have questions there, and that'll help me fill in the gaps when there's nothing at the moment too. So maybe I'll start doing that. Do you have a video on how to set up SynWire with IFTTT? You are in Academy, so if you go, I think I gave you the local video mastery course. So if you go into that, you should be able to find it in there. If you don't, then just message me and I'll hook you up. I'm having a little trouble ranking customer in a different city. What approach do you recommend? If you're talking about organic, the process is the same. If you're talking about maps and they don't have a location in that city, it's going to be just north of impossible. So specify for me if you're talking about organic, and I can kind of give you my process. But for maps, it's if they don't have a physical location there, it's probably not going to be worth your time. And honestly, and this is nothing against you, but it shouldn't work that way, because when somebody searches for service in city, they don't want service, they want a business that's in that city, you know? So. All right, I'm gonna grab some water while Jeff says, any more site reviews, site audits coming up? Yeah, I need to get on those. And what he's talking about, guys, is in Superstar SEO Academy that you can check out at superstarseo.com/academy. I do live site reviews for people in there. And it's just, Jeff, I've just been behind. I've got so much going on right now, but that's no excuse. So I'm going to get on that as soon as possible. Wait, I guess what you're really asking is, when are you going to get to mine? And I promise I'll get to them as soon as possible. Maybe I'll do that later today. What do you recommend to buy on Legiit? You recommend buying SEO services? You think you would get penalized or not for, say, a niche site? I mean, no, there's plenty of great sellers on there. Not sure exactly what the question is, but what do I recommend buying? Yeah, I mean, you can buy SEO services. For now, that's the bulk of what our customers are. So, and you know, some are going to be better than others, but do your due diligence. You know, ask questions first, read the reviews, talk to people that have used them, things like that. So, yeah. Pradeep says, what is the video editing software you use? I use Camtasia Studio for the most part. Sometimes if I need a little more power in my editing, I use, what's the Adobe one? Adobe Premiere. But for the most part, I use Camtasia Studio. I like the timeline layout. And plus, that's what I learned on, so that's what I'm familiar with. Can you make good money from Legiit? Absolutely. I know off the top of my head, I can think of 10 people that have quit their day job from it. And I make good money from it as a seller myself. Very good money from it as a seller myself, actually. So, yeah, you absolutely can. What you really want to do is join that Legiit Facebook group or the Freelancers Templar Facebook group and look at some of the stuff that Barry Page has been showing. And he's going to show you exactly like how to set up your profile to help it sell. And then you can also post it in the Legiit Facebook group and get it on the weekly roundup to help it get it some exposure as well. So yeah, you absolutely can. And don't take for granted like the potential that those kinds of sales lead to. So I was talking about this earlier today, but Legiit exists because I was offering services on another platform, and I made a $16 sale to a guy who I got to know. His name's Jim, and we eventually, you know, got to be collaborators and then partners and friends. And now he's the co-founder of Legiit and the lead developer. So, and that's a multi-million-dollar business that all stemmed from a $16 sale that I made on that marketplace that we're going to conquer, if you know what I mean. So don't take for granted that a low dollar sale you might make could lead to literally millions of dollars down the road. So just something to think about. Whew. In organic search, like near me or in that city. If it's organic search, then it's just you create a location page. So carlossite.com/New York, carlossite.com/Kennebunksport, whatever city it is, create a location page for that, and then you just treat that site. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Just treat that page like another site. So, not social profiles, but, foundation links, citations, things like that. So, and then once you get all that in place, you go to the PBN links. And the more locations like that you do, the easier it becomes for each one. Neil says, been a while. Hope you're keeping well. Good to see you here, buddy. Hope the same for you. Carlos says, I have an answer for what to be a better content writer. The YouTube channel Income School has a great approach to it. Well, there you go. I think that was Pradeep that was asking that. So there you go. Let's see. Kathleen says, can you drop a link for the Legiit profile setup? No, profile setup video. If you're in the Legiit Facebook group, you can check that out there. I'm not 100% sure what video you mean, but Barry, if you're talking about the stuff that Barry's done, you can check out his group, which I'll drop a link to right now. He also posts them in the Legiit Facebook group, but I feel like I kind of have to give him a shout out here. The link I just posted, that'll take you to his group. Can you make good money from Legiit? Does Conquer make good money? The website itself, Conquer, I don't use it anymore. I did. I built a lot of what I have now from what I used to sell on there. I don't anymore, and I see a lot of people unhappy with it. And Alex doesn't own it anymore, and it's kind of like in a limbo, so I don't know. My suspicion is that it doesn't make, from conversations I've had to, that it doesn't make the kind of money that it used to. That's the best answer I can give you on that, unfortunately. Do you recommend writing blog posts on your agency site but make duplicates of it and add stuff like California in front of them and different sites, or should you just do one? So, now, when you write a blog post, you don't necessarily want to make it geo. You want to talk about a topic that will bring people into your site, and then they can find stuff in their location. So, how to do long-tail keyword research or something like that. That brings people into your site, and then you go from there. I meant to say, is Conquer bigger than Legiit? What is bigger, Fiverr, Conquer, or Legiit in terms of traffic? Well, Fiverr is definitely the biggest because they had a 10-year head start and big capital investment. That's only going to be temporary when I'm done with them, though. As far as what's bigger, Conquer or Legiit, I don't know. I know people are a lot happier on Legiit than they are on Conquer, though. So I obviously don't have access to those kinds of numbers. If you use crap tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, not that those tools are crap. When you look at the traffic numbers, it's completely worthless. I was looking at that the other night, and it blows my mind how far off they are. No, that's not their fault. They don't have access to that kind of data. But if you're basing your decision on traffic metrics from those things, stop, because it's way off. And I looked at SpyFu as well to see what it said about ad spend for certain things. And I wish the number that it had for Legiit was all I spent on ads. So I'll just leave it at that. Very thirsty today. Let's hop back over to Facebook. What's your perspective on writing content original, then spinning it multiple, I assume that means multiple times, and posting to Web 2.0s? I don't spin any content at all, ever. But if you're doing like Jeff does with posting regularly to your Web 2.0s, which there absolutely is an advantage to, you may have to do that just for the sake of the time and the cost. So just make it, spin it, and then edit it to make it look real. I hate when I read obviously spun content that people didn't even bother to like tweak to read like English. So all right, we are caught up on questions. Having a good session today. Do you do any influencer marketing to get more people to Legiit? I have relationships with influencers and they've been pretty good at it, but to be honest, what works well for me is social and paid advertising. That's what I know really, really well, and SEO. I'm working on SEO and content marketing for it as well. Those are the things that have worked best for me. So Chris, this is from Christopher. He says, what would you say is your top 2 things you use to rank or move the needle? On-page optimization by miles is the #1 thing. Almost every time somebody gives me, I can't get my site to move, the problem is on-page. And a lot of times I say, is your on-page right? And they say yes, and then I look at it and they're wrong. So I think that comes from people not knowing their on-page very well. And it comes from, I don't know what else, to be honest, but that's kind of the thing. And the #2 thing I would say would be to making sure that you have, there's one SEO community that claims to have come up with this, but it's been common sense SEO for a long time, in my opinion. But it's to have relevant links, and by relevant, you want to have keyword or portions of keyword in like the title and in the URL and stuff from your incoming links. So, you know, if you have a LinkedIn profile or a Web 2.0 or something, and you're trying to rank for New York lawyer, you want to have like either New York or lawyer or both or some combination of them in the titles of incoming links, and that relevance really, really, really helps a lot. So those would probably be my big 2 things, and those are the 2 things I see people that aren't ranking get wrong the most. So let me pop back over to Facebook. Robin says, hey, what's up? What's up, Robin? Please share your approach on content marketing. It's nothing fancy. Just, either write some good articles or get them written and then share them on Facebook and Twitter and share them on Medium. Medium works really well. It's an underrated source for content marketing. And then just promote them a little bit, both organically and with some paid ads, and that really helps a lot. It brings in a lot of traffic and it builds up that retargeting pixel. Do you think if you put spoilers over your content, does Google not see your page as the words inside it? So for example, I have this 7K article and it's not page 1 or 2 of Google. Maybe it could be because the majority of the content is in spoilers. I don't know. I assume you mean like a spoiler tag like you can use on Reddit and things like that. I honestly don't know. I've never looked into that. That'll be a good thing to test out. I mean, worst case scenario, you're not ranking as it is. Just take them off and see if that changes anything, you know? But I don't know. No one's ever asked that before. That's interesting. My instinct is that they can still read it because it's still there in the HTML. It's just, I assume that those use like some sort of CSS to just hide it, but I don't know. That's just speculation. Looks like we're caught up on questions. I'm very cold right now. I've been taking a niacin supplement to help with some various health things. And for a while it makes you get really hot, and then once it wears off you feel cold because your temperature has dropped even though it's back to where it normally was. And mine just wore off. You may have noticed that I was very red at the beginning. And yeah, so I'm sitting here chilly now. Although it's quite nice outside. It's 68 according to Amazon. Carlos says, do you still see, your question is big, so I have to get above it. Do you still see Google Maps citations as an important part to rank in Snack Pack? And I have noticed a competitor for a #1 customer ranking without a website. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think they're nearly as important. I would never say they were important. They're still useful, but they definitely have less. Their impact has absolutely lessened, but they're still helpful. They're still good, you know, branding, diversity, that stuff. And I see a competitor ranking #1 without a website. What's your thoughts on that? My thought on that is that you have an opportunity to take them over. It means that no one is well optimized for that term, and they just had to rank somebody, so they picked a site that is relevant just from the text and things like that. So do some good GMB SEO, and you'll probably be able to outrank that. So. Because the top page articles only have like 1.5 to 2K words. That may be it too, that Google may just not like 7,000 words for that particular term. So that might be something you think about looking at too. You still do much client work, or do you move focusedly on Legiit? It's interesting that you asked that. Because today what I wanted to talk about mostly, and although we haven't gotten that many questions on it, was agency stuff. I still have, you know, a handful, but it occurred to me lately, or recently, that I have people to handle anything that an agency would offer, particularly SEO, and I get constant leads for those from people that want to work with me, and I don't want to say I'm ignoring them, but I'm not doing a good job of I don't really know how to put it, communicate with them. So that's something I'm focusing on right now, is getting that, to build that up, because I'm literally leaving, you know, thousands of dollars a month on the table by not having a good system in place for that. So what I'm going to start doing is improving my lead flow process and then signing them on as clients, because even though I don't want that to be my focus, and it's not my focus, I think it's a great way I can help some more businesses and, you know, add another 10 grand a month or something. So where do you recommend to get some cheap and good quality writers? How much per word would a cheap writer be? I don't like the word cheap, because if you get cheap, you're going to get cheap results. But if you mean low cost, there's several on Legiit. You know, Amber is very inexpensive. Who else? There's Al on SEO House. Ish costs a little bit more, but he writes really strong content. As far as per word, I don't know. I would think it depends on how good you want it to be, but I would never go below like $1 or $2 a word, and maybe that's low. I don't know. I've never looked at it that particular ratio, but I don't know. If you want, it's the distinction between content and copy too. If you just want like PBN style content, I wouldn't pay more than $5 an article. But if you want content that people are going to actually read, engage with, get value from, then you're probably going to have to go a little bit higher. So let me check out if I'm missing any questions anywhere else. Yeah. See what we got on Facebook. Remove that from the screen so I can sit back like a normal person. How do you go about anchor text optimization staying safe in Google's eyes? That goes back to what I was saying earlier about establishing a brand around your site. So if you can get a bunch of social profiles, Web 2.0s, profile links, foundation links, citations, all that good stuff that have mostly URL or branded ones, then you can use your powerful links, your PBNs, guest posts, niche edits for anchor text. I don't have a specific number, but what I do is I build that big brand around it, and then I start slowly with exact and LSI anchors from your PBNs and guest posts and niche edits, and then and just keep working that until it ranks. So I don't ever have like a hard number for anything in SEO, because it's such a malleable thing, but that would kind of be my answer to that. Also, how come my homepage ranks for the 7K article like on Google when I search the keyword it shows my homepage on page 3? How come my homepage ranks for the 7K article like on Google when I search the keyword it shows my homepage on page 3? I'm not quite following what you're asking there, because it sounds like you're saying your homepage ranks for the 7K article, but it only ranks on page 3. Are you asking me why it's only on page 3? I'm not 100% following you there. Strike, we're all caught up on Facebook questions. Jason and Robin joined. Got about 10 people on. That's pretty decent. Although, man, how bad is Facebook Live? Like, there's 40,000 people in the group. There's another 7,000 on the page, and then it's shared to a bunch of other groups and pages, and it gets shown to 10 people. You know, they need to work on that, in my opinion. So when I have lunch with Zuckerberg next week, I'll bring it up. Like, the article doesn't show in Google, but the homepage for the keyword of that article is in page 4 or 5, not 3. It sounds like if that article's not ranking as high as it is, you need to just adjust it a little bit and maybe send some links to it. So it probably just needs a little more SEO. It might be a competitive term. It could be a lot of things. Without knowing exactly, I can't say. But if you're asking why it's only ranking on page 3, 4, or 5, then you just probably have some more work to do. It being a 7K article isn't enough alone to make it rank number 1. Robin says, wow. Hopefully that's a good wow. All right, guys, we've been here for almost an hour now. People are still working in the day job. I think that's why nobody's watching. I think that's part of it for sure. But we've had times when I have, a couple hundred people show up at the same time. So I don't know. I didn't really promote this. I've been slacking on that too. So that's part of it too. But I think it's been a steady hour. There's been nonstop questions. So that's what really counts. So, all right, guys, another minute or two, and then we're going to wrap it up. How do you check if it's in top 100 pages of Google? Like, how do you check if your article is not even ranked yet or not? You can use a rank tracker if you want to do that. There's some cheap or free ones out there. And then you can just search it if you want. If you want to see if it's indexed in Google, what you do is site, : you go to Google and put in the search bar, site, : yourdomain.com. If it's showing up, if it's indexed, that's good. If it's not, then you got to look at why. But it's not showing in the top 100 at all, then it's either super competitive or you're just going to have to do some more work on it, So, all right, guys, it's 4:01. We will go till 4:05 to make sure I get any Skylar questions, but it looks like it's dying down a tick. A tick. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I'll start moving these to Thursday evening sometime. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Fortunately, my noisy neighbor seems to have left for the time being. He's actually a very nice guy and really, really successful, but his voice carries. Do you use only Easy Blog Networks? No, I don't use only that. That is one of the things I use, but I use a wide variety of PBN hosting, and a wide variety of hosting for my PBNs, including but not limited to Easy Blog Networks. All right, got 3 minutes left, and then I'm going to go into my closing routine. And I'm going to go back to watching some training of my own. Friday nights, we nerds don't have a social life anyway. Yeah, maybe we'll test it out. We'll test out a few different times. I really like doing these on Friday, though, because it's kind of like the summary of my week. So I don't know. Hopefully, us as nerds are doing something this weekend. I'm actually going to be moving very soon, so I'm gonna start getting rid of a bunch of crap that I don't need anymore this weekend. That's what I've got going on. So it's gonna be super exciting for me. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. In case anybody was wondering, I actually am kind of excited about that. I've been living in the place I live now for 9 years, more than 9 years now. And it was just time for a change. So I got something a little nicer. Granted, it cost almost 3 times as much, but it was time. All right, 2 minutes left. Any last minute questions, ladies, gentlemen, or Russell Freddie Edmonds? Where are you moving? I'm just a couple miles from where I live now. A few miles from where I live now. Are you buying is it a big house? No, actually it's a condo. I thought about buying a house, but the truth is I don't know that I want to live here for that much longer. So I signed a 15-month lease, and I figured by the time I'm done with that, I can decide if I want to move like away or if I want to buy a house here. So this is kind of like my interim decision place. So mostly I just wanted to get out of where I was. It was fine for me when I moved in there 9 years ago, but it's really it's not bad, but it's like it's not a great neighborhood anymore. And it's also kind of far from everything in the city. So where I'm moving is much more central to Myrtle Beach. And and it's way nicer. So I'm looking forward to that. Although moving sucks. I basically have 3 weeks to move 9 years worth of stuff. So that sucks. I'm going to get movers to do most of it though. So. All right. This is going to be the last question, guys. If I'm only focusing on local SEO, what kind of useful content can I find in your new course that you're selling for 1K? Don't buy that course. You should instead get the Superstar Academy, which has all the same information in it and costs $67 a month instead of $1,000. So get that instead. It has all that and way more. So is audit is each report equivalent to a single keyword search? Yeah. So if you put in Charlotte chiropractor or something, that's one keyword search. I think that's what you mean. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, and Russell Freddie Edmonds, thanks for showing up. I know it's the end of the week. You're anxious to get to your weekend, so I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me today. Check out Superstar SEO Academy at superstarseo.com/academy. It's good stuff. I'm not even going to give you the sales pitch. It's just good stuff. That's the point. I'm not here to sell. I'm just here to hang out. So appreciate you hanging out. We will talk to you again soon, and we'll do this again next week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.